one could be forgiven for thinking it's a giant, ultra-modern shopping mall. An interconnected, fully wired, air-conditioned nanny state, where everything is beautiful and nothing hurts. And those things are kind of true, especially if you read the papers or the carefully monitored internet. You look around the litterless streets where everything seems to work just fine, and you think, or you could be forgiven for thinking, gee, maybe a one-party system is just what we need. You look at all the social problems and ethnic strife, street crime, drugs that Singapore has managed to avoid, and you could think, is this the life we want? It ain't my system, it's not the world I want, but damn, it has its appeal.
Hi, this is Singapore. You like it?
Jam-packed in between the carefully feng shuied architecture, the skyscrapers and office blocks are rich, deep, very old, and deliciously funky remnants of the old world. Chinese, Indian, Malay, and a culture that still cherishes the joys of a simple, good thing.
A lot of national foods you can get in Singapore.
What's your favorite?
My favorite is, in Malay, I think you don't know, we call it mee goreng.
That's your favorite Malay dish. What's your favorite Chinese dish?
Chinese Hokkien mee.
Hokkien mee?
Hokkien mee. Sometimes chicken rice.
Chicken, of course.
Yes.
And how about favorite Indian dish?
Definitely nasi biryani. You know that?
The biryani.
Yeah, biryani rice. You got it.
Oh, Sungai Road, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the best lock size on Sungai Road. It's funny, I recognize every place here by food.
Tony, how are you?
Looking good.
My brother. So what blows you back to Singapore, man?
You know why I come here. I come here to eat.
I live here to eat too.
I come here mostly to eat, because that's what they do here. And they arguably do it better with more diverse, affordable food options per square foot than just about anywhere on Earth. My godfather and mentor for Singaporean street food has always been and remains KF Seetoh, the guru behind the Makan Sutra food guides and an advocate for the kind of democratic, affordable, casual chaos of the hawker world.
So this is the dry one.
Thank you.
Thank you, enjoy.
Thank you. Okay, so wet and dry.
Wet and dry. When the heat gets to you, a bit of broth.
545 Huampo prawn noodles for prawn mee seemed a good place to start.
We are here because Ray Fang, this girl who served us, she's one of the new heroes, the new generation heroes that's out to protect and preserve our food culture. You know, I've been talking about continuity for the longest time.
I mean, I know you want to see traditional recipes and preparations preserved.
I'm here to preserve what's traditional, what's progressive. Progressive heritage food has a space. But if you're too creative with your stuff, you start putting truffle oil and this kind of stuff.
Well, that's wrong,
Yes,
always.
Creativity is not a flavor, Tony.
Most hawker stalls are family-run operations, and Huampo is no exception. What's unusual is that Li Rufong left her white-collar job to work alongside her parents, bucking a trend that has left the hawker centers with an aging workforce, unable to replenish generations of expertise with new blood.
If you look around, Tony, look at all the hawkers, more than 70%, 80% of them are 50 and above. So the tipping point will come where everybody just give up their stall because their children have gone to university. They've told them, yeah, go be a doctor, lawyer, go be something else other than hawker.
But the Singaporean government wants to build more stalls, more, better, modern.
20 more hawker centers like this.
20 more hawker centers.
To which I said, where the hell are the hawkers coming from?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Where are they going to come from?
There's a lot of insinuations of an answer, but no true answer.
I mean, the answer is not from Singapore, right? They're going to have to come in from China.
For the 15,000 or 20,000 food stalls like this we have in Singapore, if it's public run like this, you can't hire foreigners. It's meant for Singaporeans.
But isn't the beginning of all of this was people from China, India?
That's what I keep saying. Our food came from the rest
Somewhere.
of the world. Yeah, we had nothing. And in that tradition, I say, we must continue.
Up for rent, cooked food stall. No, we should do a pop-up. Get my apron. Stamford Raffles arrived in Singapore in 1819 with the British East India Company, establishing it first as a trading post for the British Empire. Soon thereafter, Singapore grew, quickly becoming an economic hub and regional capital for the British Empire's new colony on the Malay Peninsula. After World War II, Singapore clamored for independence, first becoming a part of the Malaysian Federation, then a fully independent state in 1965. Helmed by its first Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, tiny Singapore famously went from a third world outpost to a first world nation in a single generation.
In Singapore,
Yeah.
rules and regulations in Singapore is very strict. We have to follow them. Like I'm driving taxi,
Right.
I can't break any law.
So the camera catches it.
Yeah, everything is in camera. So it's very important for everyone. We have to follow the rules and regulations. That's the reason Singapore is very good. Same time, Singaporeans are very hardworking persons. As human beings, what we need, food to eat, clothes to wear, place to sleep. You can get it in Singapore. So, in other words, we have to continue work, is it? We work hard, we'll get something. Once lazy, we are out.
By some measure, Singapore is a welfare state, taking care of the less fortunate. But at its heart, it's a cold-blooded meritocracy. You follow the rules, and there are many, work hard, and you'll have a good life. That's the message.
We are starting to define the definition of success. I think before we are very clear with the 5 C's: car, condominium, a credit card, cash, and career.
Wow, that sounds fucking awful, dude.
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
I grew up in that idea. I grew
But
up
that's not good.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds kind of depressing.
I know, but that's the past, I think.
The Muslim Quarter, just following afternoon prayers. I'm here with Najib Ali, the Singaporean Malay entertainer and producer.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, looking good.
This is it.
So this is a
Lontong.
wonton, and this
This is mee siam.
Oh. We're having wonton, rice cake, coconut gravy, vegetables, and a hard-boiled egg. And mee siam, fried rice noodles with chili paste, prawns, bean sprouts, and a spicy sweet and sour gravy, fried bean curd, and an egg. Delicious. I mean, we like to make fun of Singapore in the West and call it Disneyland with the death penalty. And we're skeptical, of course, of one-party rule. We're skeptical of constraints on freedom of the press or the things you can't do.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Do you think that young creative Singaporeans feel those constraints and suffer from them?
I think some of them who travel knows better. Most of them are over-educated and underexposed, meaning they are very little experience in what they know. And I think that's what we're lacking. They're looking for things to do. And the problem with this is always that we're living in a small country and we have nowhere to go, and where do we experience these things? If you're in New York and you don't like the city life, you say, shit, I'm not gonna
You can say shit on the show.
I'm gonna take this.
I think we have 2 more on this hour.
I'm going to get
That
out
was one.
city. So you go to Minnesota, you go to Texas, you take time to think about. And even in Malaysia, when you are in Kuala Lumpur and you go to Terengganu, you go to Kelantan, we have nowhere to go.
Not only is Singapore a small city-state, a little more than half the size of LA, but there's also a pressure of a kind from a big brother government who's always watching, however benevolently one might think.
every day as an entertainer, as a producer director, we are reminded what not to do. Don't insult other races, don't insult other religion. There are some parameters that we always need to see. But I think as a creative person, I think we are always trying to work out. And I think that's challenging for us. And again, most of the things that I do on television is funded by the government. So, so what?
You're biting the hand that feeds you.
But our job is basically as entertainers here just to purely entertain. And we know there are lines that we can't cross. Religion, our ancestors, our parents, things like that. So it's...
You can't make fun of your parents in comedy?
If your own parent is okay.
How about family member?
But I give high marks when they can give you a twist to a story of a mother-in-law.
Right. A mother-in-law is okay.
Your mother-in-law is okay.
Why does a mother-in-law always get the
I don't know.
One-fifth of the world's shipping containers move through the port of Singapore. It is the busiest transshipment point on the planet. Singapore has fully embraced globalization, and that's proved, in their case, very rewarding.
Singapore is an outsized economic importance, primarily because it's so attractive to foreign entrepreneurs, primarily in the form of multinational corporations. So right from the start, the economic strategy was always to attract foreign capital.
Donald Lowe is an economist who spent over 10 years researching and writing about Singapore's unique financial policies.
This place is almost contrary to the founders' original expectations. This place works. This multi-ethnic, meritocratic ideal, this pragmatic streak, this understanding that free trade is good for everyone. This place is, after 50 years, it's deeply imprinted in Singaporeans. It's remarkable how open and welcoming of diversity Singapore still is.
We are now living in times where globalism and globalization are bad words.
Yeah, I know.
You're seeing a rise of
populism,
of nationalism.
Which is why, I'm worried about and concerned about Singapore's future. This is a place that has been a main beneficiary of globalization. And as the world turns against globalization, as the world becomes more inward-looking, as countries in Europe and the US becomes more concerned about protecting their own borders, literally in the case of the US, there is a high probability that Singapore will not thrive in such a world.
A lot of social engineering has been superimposed to hold that together, and I think what a lot of Westerners who come to Singapore come here skeptical are often reluctantly pulled into the inescapable conclusion that it seems to work.
It seems to work. But of course, the post-independent Singapore government has been often accused of being extremely keen and extremely competent at social engineering. Of course, the most powerful instrument of social engineering is public housing. Where we force Singaporeans, the large majority of Singaporeans, more than 80% of them, to live in these more or less uniform housing estates. But that form of social engineering also has certain benefits.
Unlike most of the wealthy developed world, there's universal health care and little to no homelessness in Singapore. The country's public housing policy provides an astonishing 80% of Singapore's 5.6 million people with affordable homes, with 90% of the population owning their own home.
Singaporeans would be hard-pressed to name a neighborhood that they would describe as a slum. They'll be hard-pressed to name a neighborhood where they'll say, oh, the people here live in relatively deprived conditions with poor schooling and poor amenities. I mean, most of Singapore feels, I mean, even though economic inequality is high, income inequality is high, you don't see it in the public housing estates.
Right.
I mean, it's a picture of general equality.
By ensuring its citizens are safe, housed, healthy, and for the most part economically successful, the Singaporean government has been effective at keeping the masses placated enough, willing to accept curbs on their freedoms and civil liberties.
Do you think that the Singaporean success story is a rebuke to American Western values in some respect?
No.
I mean, is free speech overrated?
I don't think we succeeded because of the absence of free speech. And to a large extent,
but
the values we spoke
it's a
about, free
factor.
trade, the values of free trade, the values of a liberal global order, these are Western ideas, right? I mean, Singapore did not invent them, the Asia did not invent them.
It shouldn't work.
Harmonious society.
It hasn't really worked like this anywhere else, and yet it works.
No, I think, but my objection or my discomfort with the lack of democratic freedoms is that I think we can allow a lot more of that without hurting Singapore's prosperity and stability 1 ounce.
Right.
What would we lose if we had a freer press? What would we lose if we had more democratic or opposition representation in Singapore? We'll make for not just a more livelier debate, we'll make for a better debate. We may well arrive at the conclusion that the current dispensation, the current order, represents the best possible society for Singapore. But let's have that debate.
I mean, it's a horrifying thought. But what if,
It's
what if-
possible. It's possible that the human mind, that the average citizen cannot deal with that much diversity, that we need these curbs and restrictions on our freedoms. Is that
What if
bad?
free speech is is bad?
It's like a drug, right?
Of the many ethnicities coexisting in Singapore, one of the oldest is the Peranakan culture, Straits-born Chinese who immigrated to the Malay Peninsula in the 16th century.
We have a heritage that exists in Singapore that comprises 5 different ethnic groups. So you have your Chinese, you have your Malay, you have your Indian, you have your Eurasians, and your Peranakan. And this makes the cuisine here very, very special. Cheers, Tony.
Cheers.
Chef Damien De Silva has made it his mission to preserve and protect the knowledge, techniques, and flavors of Singaporean heritage foods. Guan Ho Soon is the oldest Peranakan restaurant in Singapore, predating independence.
So this is a dish that you probably find in Malay home. It's sour, it's sweet because of the pineapple, right? And it's savory as well.
Ikan asam nana, sour fish curry with pineapple.
So really, we're talking about a sort of, I hate the word fusion, but
It
it's
is.
natural fusion.
It's indigenous fusion. It's a fusion that started 500 years ago. So now it's evolved so much, Tony, that it's become a heritage on its own, a cuisine on its own, you know? There's nothing, I think, that is like this anywhere in the world. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, that's duck. Yeah, that's duck.
Braised duck. Is
Yeah.
Itak Sio, duck braised with tamarind and coriander. And the famous ladyfingers, or sambar bandir, okra sautéed with sambal.
Who's cooking now? Has that changed?
It has changed. You know, everybody wants to go up the ladder very, very quickly, and they want to do it in a way where they don't want to put too much effort in it, right? Where is the prestige in a Peranakan restaurant? You work in the kitchen 12, 14, 15 hours a day, you know, And most of them don't want to do that. So what happens is that they want to work in a French restaurant, they want to work in an Italian restaurant. Why? Because they get more money.
Okay.
Okay?
I think it's a tactical mistake because I just flew halfway around the world
Yeah.
to Singapore. And I sure as shit am not eating French food when I'm here.
No, you're right.
And you know what?
You should.
I'm not going to eat Japanese
No,
food.
you shouldn't. So you talk about Peranakan cuisine, right? And are there people that cook it today? I can tell you out of 100 Peranakans, maybe one.
Whoa.
Maybe one.
So you're saying that basically you're talking about the dinosaurs.
Yeah. This no longer exists, Tony. It's gone.
One of the things I admire about Singaporean food culture is that people are very passionate about food. They value a fancy French or Italian meal as much as they enjoy a really good chicken rice.
Right.
They're just not willing to pay for it.
Exactly. You know, that's the public that we have to educate. And it doesn't make sense, Tony, because we're a first world country. You know, how can food be so cheap? How long more is this gonna last? That we pay $3 for chicken rice? It's insane.
I have the solution. It's an ugly solution. It's a terrible solution, but it will probably be the only salvation. It's the hipster solution. It's hipsters will save the day.
No, you're right.
It takes people to stand up and say, look, I don't care whether his is $4. Mine is $12, motherfucker. It's $12, and it's worth it.
But to go and work in a restaurant, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, that needs someone who's not passionate, but a little bit mad.
Yeah, you're telling me.
A little bit mad.
Cheers to that.
Okay, we'll just let you know what we are doing. This one of dish, right, is my dad's recipe, Hakka recipe. So it's pig trotters with black vinegar. Yes. And this is my mom's recipe, Hainan mixed vegetable.
Meet the Lius, Choi, Ko Liang, daughter Geraldine, and sons Paul and Wayne. The family behind long-running, much-loved eating house, Keng Eng Ki Seafood, in the Alexandria Village neighborhood. And your parents met in the restaurant business.
Yes. We only knew about this story when we get older and the media start to interview them and say, oh, that's how they know each other. We are typical Chinese. They never talk about how they met. Yeah.
In the beginning, when they're working at your mother's parents' restaurant, and then in the beginning of their eating house, how many hours a day did they work? And how many days a week? How many days vacation?
2个礼拜就是一天哦。
2个礼拜时间，那一天做几个小时？
一天差不多12小时吧。
大概12小时。
12小时。
12 hours per day, and then he gets 1 day off every 2 weeks.
That's hard.
Sauce must work with the rice will be perfect.
Thank you. Oh, it's fantastic. Wow, that's good. Choi has been making this dish for decades. Pig's feet cooked slowly in black vinegar, ginger, dried chilies, and assam. Chap chai is a Hainanese family favorite. Cabbage and glass noodles stir-fried with bean curd, black mushrooms, pig skin, and shrimp. Now, I've been speaking to a lot of people who talk about how Singapore loves its hawker culture, it loves its food, but the general story is the first generation starts a hawker stall, they get successful, they send the kids to school, and they tell them, I did not work hard, so you could go into restaurant business.
My dad and mom say the same thing, like, don't come into business.
get a 9 to 5 job. Stay in the air conditioning room.
Many of the people I speak to are very sad that these original recipes and preparations are disappearing. You know, other than this wonderful family, who do your parents think will keep these traditions alive?
My mom was saying, like, now that the government encourage a lot of young people to preserve our traditions and all, so I think she believe and hope that 10 years down the road, maybe more people like us or younger generation will go and take over the business.
Right now, Win's eldest daughter is 14. Yeah, we are making sure she help out in the shop on weekends. So to let her understand, it's not easy to earn like.
But would you like your child to stay in the restaurant business?
Yeah, so if they're really interested in this industry, why not? I will just, yeah.
You say yeah.
Yeah, yes.
This is so good, by the way. It's delicious food. Mm. Now, Singapore is a rich country. A lot of rich people live here. Why can't you charge as much money for this traditional food as the French charge for French food? What do you think? Why won't Singaporeans pay?
Actually, just a couple of months ago, we go through some of our old photos. And there's one photo that is like almost 20 years ago. There's a price list. They're selling their fried rice at $3 a pack. Right now, we are selling $4. So
20 years later.
$1 more.
Why?
I think it's
Singaporeans love food.
I think there's like a bond between us and the customer, so he doesn't want to increase the price.
You know your
There is-
customers.
yeah.
You have a lot of regulars.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of them is like, they've seen us growing up, the three of us, and we see their kids growing up.
Yeah.
So I think there's a different kind of bond between us and the customers.
I just hope this doesn't disappear because it's, of course, always going to be the good stuff. It's important. A little more, maybe a little more.
Singapore is a multinational society. We got Chinese, Malay, Indian, other races in Singapore.
It seems to work.
It works, yes.
One last trip straight back to where it all started for me. A simple, good thing. In this case, one of my favorite things. Here it is, the mighty char kway teow. Ordinarily, this is a breakfast. I eat it every time I'm in Singapore. It's just about the unhealthiest breakfast you can have. I mean, it's literally like lard, crispy lard bits, healthy cockles, shrimp paste, and a whole lot of noodles. And it's like legendarily fattening, originally created for to feed laborers. So, it ain't pretty. Not the healthiest of breakfast, but delicious. Mm. You're looking to fit into that silver lame Speedo, this would not be option one. Oh, man. Problem is, you eat this surrounded by all these sort of wonders of Asia in the food court here, and after this, you're kind of done. I don't know how anybody works after this, frankly. Once in a while, you hit a little piece of crispy pork fat. Well, my work is done here today. Why